It looks awfully like spring has sprung in the UK, so it's time to get down off this rooftop in Manchester and head north. That is after a stop off to do a bit of shopping. I've got a funny feeling over the course of this project this is not going to be my last trip to B&Q, but today I'm just here to collect a big pile of this cladding stuff and then definitely heading north. Whoa, what project is that, I hear you ask? Well, let's head now from Manchester up to the hills of Scotland and back in time to about the mid 1700s where this story kicks off. Nestled high in the southern uplands of Scotland is the village of Leadhills, and nestled in the very heart of the village of Leadhills there is this little dot on a map from the mid-1800s, and this is as far back as we can trace our wee house. Although it was never the main focus of attention, we are quite fortunate that the house's location in the very heart of the village does mean that it appears in a lot of photographs alongside its more illustrious neighbours down the hill and over the back, but there it is there. Backing onto the main street and looking out in a panorama over the village, and through these photographs we can actually trace the history of this building, because this is a photo from 1920 when it all changed. Somebody built a porch and a kitchen and widened the downstairs windows, and a few years later these dormers were added upstairs, giving us a lot more space today, so thanks to whoever did that. And when I bought this house a few years ago it looked a bit like this, and I looked a bit like this, yeah, don't laugh. And however many hundred years after I was built, this is how it looks today. Now outside it looks not too bad, a little bit tatty, but yeah, inside is where it gets unpleasant. This is the work in progress, because up there, above all that stuff that I've just put back up so it doesn't bang me in the head, it leaked quite a lot. So what I'm trying to do now is tart it all up a little bit, get some wood panelling up, and just, you know, get it nice. The dog is looking a little bit unsure because it is chaos, although it's not as chaotic as it was last night. After quite a late shift, we have now actually got some proper roofing ceiling up, so I just got to finish this half and then get all the kitchen units back up on the wall. Problem with that being the wall is it's dried out now because this roof's been fixed, but it was quite wet. I'm going to have to improvise and what's the other word? Oh yeah, bodge. One interesting thing, for a given value of interesting, about this wooden panelling stuff is once it gets a little bit out of straight, it's a real fizzle to get it together. I used the word fizzle there because I couldn't think of anything else polite. It's not very easy, but we're getting there. Seeing how popular home renovation things are on YouTube now, I wonder how different my life had been if I'd known about YouTube when I first bought this house, because it had an indoor water feature running down the walls upstairs and downstairs, and the ceiling in here was pretty much on the floor, and the walls in here were all just black with mould. It was a major project, the whole house, and it also stunk. It smelled really, really bad, but it was cheap, and the view was a bit like that, which I thought wasn't bad for not a great deal of money. Oh, all you're seeing there is spider webs. I'll go outside and give you a proper view. It is a week later and we are back at it. Sorry, I keep forgetting to film things as I'm doing them. I should really do a nice time lapse, but a bit late for that now. Let's just get it done. How's that for a plan? But it's far too nice a day to be cooped up inside, so let's nip outside and do a couple of wee jobs there. So that's the bit you've already seen. I've run out of width, so what I've done is space it out at that end, which once it's painted grey it'll look fine. It kind of it doesn't look as bad as flappy bits of rotten wood. Around here, wait till you see this, that's the roofing tin that came down is now there, and look, it's got an actual window. I was trying to figure out how I could cover that hole because I've got no more roofing tin, so there you are. That is a wee very rustic window frame for you. A bit of creative thinking for that massive hole in the render that you see as soon as you walk towards the house. It's now hidden by a wood store, which is actually a wood store, as well as looking like a wood store and camouflage. That'll do till I can get all the render fixed. Right, back inside. I have spent all day today doing stuff, mostly taking things to the tip, but unfortunately I've got nothing interesting to show you. I should just do what most of these renovation blogs do and just show you things that aren't interesting, but hey ho. It's unfortunate that work keeps getting in the way of my fun in Leadhills, but I suppose the good news is it gives me ample opportunity to go to B&Q and B&M and buy supplies, because it's amazing how many supplies a project like this eats. And another week later, good job this isn't a time lapse, let's get back into the kitchen. And back to it. Next time you see this room, it'll be finished. All the white bits that are caulk and filler will be painted yellow. Well, he's been absolutely no help at all. But look at this. That's all recycled wood there. Obviously, some of it was painted and some of it wasn't. Needs to all be painted, but I think that looks pretty smart. And the kitchen is caulked and are ready for painting, more or less. There's a couple of bits I still need to do, but nothing major. I don't think. I've got a bit of wood to go up round there, the same as the one that's over there. to hide it. I've only got one bit of that, unfortunately, but the rest of it, yeah, it's just a case of getting it painted, and that'll be the kitchen done. Look at the remains of old leaks. I think that's from the very, very original roof that was here, not the new one, thankfully. But yeah, it's looking quite good. It's going to be quite bright and cheerful. Right, ignore the big pile of rubbish that I've got to put into the bin. This is not far off as done as it is getting. It's I think it looks alright. It's not an immediate sort of horror show. If you look in too much detail, then you will see some interesting little bits. But who looks in too much detail? It's not an immediate no, I think, anymore. I think it's alright. And with the kitchen almost done, and with it being a beautiful blue skies and sunshine sort of day, time to go for a walk. Come on, stop the sniffing. I do like Leadhills. I didn't move through here particularly through choice. As I told you a wee bit earlier, it was just where I could afford a nice house. But it's a nice wee place. That's quite an interesting piece of local history. That there is the curfew bell that they used to ring to let miners know it was the start and the end of the shift, and it was also rung if there's an emergency anywhere and people needed to go and do a spot of rescuing. And now it's only rung at New Year, well, and by kids when they run past it, but mostly it's rung officially at New Year. Lots of picturesque little corners and bits that are fixer-uppers. Lots of historic names in Leadhills. This is called locally the Gamekeeper's Path for reasons that I probably don't have to explain to you. Leadhills is still part of a shooting estate, unfortunately. Land Rover loads of entitled people coming to blow up little birdies. As I've said before, frequently I don't understand it. De Niro is staying on his lead, although this is perfect mini zoomy territory, because up here there are lots and lots of free-range sheep. I see they're all fenced off in a little corral up there, but they're usually just wandering about, including up and down the village. And this is Leadhills, and another thing you find dotted about here are these little fenced off bits, like that one over there. Those are the remains of old mine working, so if you fall in there, it's probably quite a long way down. They're mostly sealed, I think. There's not any that are actually get-inable. Those ladies up there are not at all sure about the greyhound, and the greyhound is not at all interested in the ladies up there. Once upon a time, this would have been absolutely bustling. There's lots of shops for every conceivable need. You didn't ever have to leave the village. There's a pub over there, and that down there is the church. We'll go for a closer look at the church on the wee bus. On a day like this, there's no shortage of nice views at Leadhills. There's the main street, you can see going down there, obviously, and then another row of houses up there. The houses are sort of a bit better organised than they are in One Lockhead next door. We'll go there one day for a wee look as well. That up there is one of my favourite houses in the village. It was empty but never really derelict. I think the guy that owned it, I believe, lived in Canada and wouldn't sell it and was going to move back one day. And they've been doing bits and pieces of work on it, so maybe he's coming home. Up that way is the railway station. Yes, Leadhills has a railway station. Once upon a time it was on the main line. Now it's just a little toy, a little sort of touristy thing. That is Leadhills' church. Obviously, it's not been an actual church for quite a while. It's now it's owned by somebody who's fixing it up. It's been owned by a few people that have been trying to fix it up. I think money is an issue. I think it would be a massive undertaking. Just getting all the slates up there sorted out. There's slates coming off there, and there's slates down there, and look at that corner there. That's going to be, yeah, there's a lot of money getting sunk into that place, but it'll be worth it when it's finished. It'll be a unique house. And with the loop to Leadhills completed, we're back at the house. Just in time, because I've got an appointment in the nearby town of Sanquhar. It's not all painting and decorating and hard labour though. Oh no, I've got the joy of a trip to the tip, but it does take you down one of the prettiest roads that you're ever going to see. This is today's adventures. That's all the electronics and electrical bits and car batteries and stuff in the back of Effie. I keep forgetting that she's called Effie. And I'm quite pleased with this. That's the wooden box that's to go to the tip, obviously. But guess what it's full of? Go on, can you guess? It's not full of that wood because that's there. It's full of the roof of the shed. Yeah, so progress is progressing. Kitchen is 90% done. Outside I'm going to have a start and have a look at today, but that'll be get some roof ladders and get that done next week, and that should be, fingers crossed, about it. This is the top of the Mennock Pass, which takes you from One Lockhead to Sanquhar, and it is, well, you'll see in a minute. This is such a pretty place. It's also a place where in summer you can't actually, you can't look at it without feeling a little bit angry, because you get lots and lots and lots of people come here in their camper vans and their cars and their tents, and you can't imagine the mess that they leave. I mean, who would come to a place like this and then just basically trash it? And the most annoying thing is when people put their rubbish in bags and then leave it lying at the side of the road. Like, who the hell do you think is going to come and pick it up? There's not much of a rubbish collection service going on up here. This is the wilds of Scotland. They just leave it behind, and guess what happens? All those little sheepies go and rip the bags open, and you end up with crap everywhere. It's not very pleasant. But enough complaining. There you are. That is the Minnock Pass with only a couple of caravans in sight. This is the pretty little town of Sankar. We'll bring you here one day for a proper look round. Hopefully it'll be more popular on YouTube than the Vilnius was. And here we are at my most visited place in Sankar over the last few weeks. This is a tip. Another van load of rubbish to come here. At least it's a smaller van load than usual. This is a very relaxed tip. Sometimes I'm very iffy about what you can actually dump. This place they don't actually care. Anybody want to know an old amplifier? No idea how many years ago I bought that, but probably at least 30. I hope that's not big black clouds heading towards Leadhills, because I've just done that concreting and I don't imagine it'll work very well if it gets wet again. Of course, it's important to load things away with care, or not. Part of the reason for this little push today is Bex is coming to visit tonight, so she'll be checking up on progress. But as I've just about done all I can do for the moment, I think it's time for me and the dog to go and do a bit of an explore. We'll show you some more of the really pretty little village of Leadhills. This is Wanlock Head, which is a really pretty little village as well. If anything, prettier than Leadhills. I like the way the houses here are just sort of scattered about on the hillside. It's quite cool. I have been outside, singularly forgetting to film anything. This is not going very well. I'm not a great renovation blogger. But that's the kitchen now. Looks a bit better than it did, I think. And that was it for another work stint in Leadhills. Back down to Manchester for real work, which inevitably meant, well, you're getting the hang of this by now, aren't you? Time to go back to B&Q. This time I'm going to go and buy lots more rendering stuff and concrete to start getting the outside of the house fixed up, I hope. Anybody saying you should be using limestone render, you're absolutely correct. But I used this before when I first moved into the house a few years ago and it worked fine. So I'm now going to go and try and fix a rather large hole that somebody, and by somebody I mean me, has made in the side of the house. I will usually take on most things, as you've probably noticed, but heading up to Leadhills now to try and fix that hole in the wall, I am, a little bit nervous. It'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. So that is the big chunk of render that fell out. That whole top half of that wall is getting ready to go, but I'm not engaging in even thinking about that. I'm just going to fix the bit that's already fallen off. And to be quite honest, if I thought I could get away with just gluing this bit back into it, I would. Actually, I might. Well, that's certainly not happening now, but I have got some quite good bits of rubble there for infilling. Don't tell anyone. It'll be just as much as a bodge as the previous repairs, because there's render upon layers upon layers. Right, so this is what we are doing. We are trying to fill this big hole with mortar mix, and I don't really have a clue how to do it properly. I'm sure there's a technique that I singularly do not have, but we shall get there. Well, next job, my meta glasses are probably covered in cement, is to redo these pointing bits, because there was a bit of a leak in the kitchen and it's coming in under these slabs because they're a really poor piece of design. So yeah, I've just been, I am not a very expert cementer, as you can probably notice, but it'll work, it'll do. And the next part of the tartification is painting. It's going to take a while, so I might as well paint this while the cement is drying. That's the plan anyway. And we'll start off along this back wall and see how we get on. And much puffing and painting later. That's the back wall. Yeah, done for now. Might get a second coat or might not. I am getting increasingly covered in white snowflakes, but we're getting there. I'm going round over the bits that I've got loose paint in them like that, and just battering paint over the top of it. All right, hands up. Who's curious to see if this stuff has actually dried or set, or it's not all fallen out? That's a good sign. Yeah, it's still a bit squidgy in places, but I might try putting another layer onto it just now. Probably not the best of practices, but again, I have no idea what I'm doing, as you probably noticed. Well, that is effectively 2 layers of that stuff put on. I'm going to leave it there and not get ahead of myself. I will finish it off when I'm back on Thursday night, and that should be that wall fixed it compared to where it was, and I'll get it painted. Another day done, and I've got to say it's looking much better. I'll get that stuff over there all painted on the next visit, and that'll hopefully be about it. We'll find out. The problem is you can spend forever chasing your tail, doing job after job, because every job you do makes something else look not quite as good. So yeah, just see when we can call it finished. De Niro, can you not decide which bed you want to use? Do you want to have a big posh fluffy pillow for your head, and yeah. You are a strange dog. One of us has had enough of DIY and cleaning and stuff, so we're going to go for a wee explore. Me and him down there are going to show you some of the sights of Leadhills that don't involve looking at my nicely painted kitchen, which does look quite nice, even if I do say so myself. Well, after this morning trying to do that concreting in the rain, it is a lovely blue skies and almost sunshine sort of day in the Leadhills, so hopefully the audio is going okay with the wind, but I didn't bring a proper microphone, so sorry about that. Oh, a greyhound and a field of, it was a field of rabbits. There's now 2 or 3 or 4. There's some rabbits over there, a quantity of rabbits greater than none. He's still not very interested in them though. That's probably why he wasn't a very good racing dog. You're supposed to chase the rabbit. The rabbits are not worried about the greyhound, and the greyhound is not interested in the rabbits. It's one of those natural balance things that you get. And on your left, that is Leadhills Golf Course, which is the highest golf course in, I'm going to say Scotland, but possibly Britain. It's a little 9-hole thing, and it's actually quite busy in the summertime. A bit desolate for most of the rest of the year, though. I've not been up here for a while, but I'm thinking there used to be a sort of stone wall along here, a raised up section that was for loading railway trains, because it looks like Leadhills Golf Course is getting a new clubhouse. That's going to be quite a big building, I think, when it's finished. This is a thing I was gibbering about, and once upon a time it was the end of a railway siding, because there's the railway siding that goes off around that way, and the railway line goes all the way down there and eventually joins the Scottish main line down beside the River Clyde. One day we'll take a walk down there maybe, or we might not. On that railway line there used to be some quite interesting things to see. There was an old viaduct called the Risping Clew Viaduct that looked really impressive, and then at the bottom there was Scotland's first poured in situ concrete bridge. They were both dynamited when the railway line was closed down, which was a bit short-sighted because it would make an excellent cycle path. And from over there and the main line, like I said, the railway line used to go along here to Leadhills Station and then Woodlockhead Station. Both now, well, actually not all gone because, well, I'll show you in a second. And you're all thinking, Dizzy, you said it's all gone, but that's definitely a railway line there. Well, none of this is actually original. This is a narrow gauge sort of train set up by some people. It's the Leadhills and Woodlockhead Railway. In the summer you can take a wee train ride for about half a mile out and back. And they like their altitude here because they'll quite happily tell you it is Britain's highest adhesion railway. They used to have a lot more stuff here, a lot of old broken down steam engines and stuff. I think they've been having a bit of a tidy up. But there's still a few bits and pieces dotted about down there. That's the remains of a steam train obviously, and yeah, you can see what it is. Lots of rusty old junk mostly. De Niro does not like walking on the pebbles, so he's trying to get the hang of just walking on the wooden bits. Go on, De Niro, you were doing it there, and as soon as I started filming you stopped. Go on, do it again. And this is Leadhills railway station, which is built on the site of, believe it or not, Leadhills' proper railway station before it was just a wee doy train set. That signal box was actually demolished somewhere else and brought here, so it's quite a nice wee collection of bits and pieces. If you're into trains, blah 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 blah. This original line didn't have a signal box. He thought it would be better with a signal box, so they built a signal box. And the guts of that actually came from a signal box on the West Highland line at a place called Aracher, which we have visited. Anybody remember which episode that was in? I miss this place. I know I haven't lived here for a few years since Beck said I wasn't allowed to. That was a joke. Please nobody in the comments say that I said that, or I'll get into trouble. Right, De Niro, you had enough of walking along the railway lines. Let's head up here to look at some interesting ruins. Well, I think they're interesting. This is definitely interesting. I know you're thinking, oh, Leadhills, that'll be a lead mine. It's not a lead mine. What it actually was a trackway that went from the smelting works down to the railway, and in the winter it got full of snow. So being clever folk, they built a lid over it to a lid. Yeah, you're gibbering. They built a roof over it to keep the snow out, so they could move the lead down to the railway. Let's have a look. You can actually see all the way along it. I have been inside this before, but I'm not doing it again. So railway line down that way where we've been, trackway running this way up to what's in front of us. Let's go for a wee look. Around this area there are all sorts of little bits and pieces like this. None of them have been very well preserved. It's more by luck than judgment, but they're still quite interesting. Well, I've said before, I think they're quite interesting. De Niro's ears have gone on to full alert. There's quite pointy. I'm not sure what he's hearing or sensing or stuff. Quite a cool wee remnant. I've got no idea if any of this audio is actually working or if I've got to do it all again, but still, no problems coming back up here again. It's nice. And that is the top of that arch. Not brave enough to go out and actually stand on it, although it has been there for over 100 years. Nothing quite as cool as a castle or anything up here, but some of these old ruins are almost as interesting and almost as nice to look at, I suppose, in a sort of ruiny type style. De Niro, what is going on with your ears? This is one of the sort of biggest and most visible things left in the area. But occasionally you do find things like this. Now this one has all been renovated and restored for reasons of safety, I would imagine. But this is the top of a mine shaft. So let's go and see if it is still... oh yeah, I don't know why they haven't just closed it all off, but they haven't. It's It's quite a long way down there. You do not want to be finding out how far down it is. Considering he was looking forward to retirement sitting on a couch, he does get about a bit, does our greyhound. Oh dear, we've got a greyhound emergency. He's De Niro, lift your leg up. He's completely incapacitated. De Niro, I'm not lifting your leg up for De Niro, lift your leg up. I am lifting your leg up for you, or we'll be here all day. Oh dear, it's another problem for the greyhound. De Niro, can you get over this? Oh no, that doesn't actually look very safe. Let's go round it. Come on, let's go round it. Come on. Yeah, you can get across there, can't you? Yay! Oh dear, and yet another problem is, De Niro, it is quite a big gap. Come on, I'm pretty sure you can get through there. Come on, come on. Yay! Absolutely did not yank him through by the neck at all. But if I hadn't, we would probably have been there all day.